I am Eric Allen, as always, and you are here to learn all of the good things that you were missing out on before I was in your life. You're welcome. So this week, we are going to go over a few really important things. One of the things we're going to discuss is an article on why college should not be free and potentially even high school. Your thoughts on that. We'll have a discussion about that. And then I have many questions, and they are related to having friends, being bored, being lonely, and getting better grades and studying better. So we've got a lot to talk about on this week of College Success Coaching. So strap in. Let's do this. All right, so you guys are in for a very interesting article. I think it's the opposite of what a lot of people talk about. And since you are all in about the grade where you're starting to actually care about this whole college thing, or at least your GPA is affected, it's going to be really interesting. But first, it's time for the mug of the week. This week, it is the police box from Doctor Who. Complete with a nice lid, so it actually doesn't get super cold by the time I'm talking to my juniors and seniors. So that's nice. And I have to drink out of the corner because otherwise it's gigantic. And then you'll watch a video of me spilling coffee all over myself. But that is good coffee. Wow. All right. Love that mug of the week. So thank you for comments and suggestions of very expensive mugs that I should be getting on Amazon. Like, you know, that's what Hanukkah and Christmas are for, guys. I'm not getting any more mugs. I will actually be killed. So, but thanks for that. And now it is time for the article of the week. This week's article, Why College Should Not Be Free, 6 Reasons. You can always check the link if you are looking at this here on my live stream. I have it posted in the public chat, so you should be able to see that. Let me know if you cannot. If you're on YouTube watching this later on in the future, like I'm in the time machine right now, you'll be able to see that in the link that's in the description. So why college should not be free? The issue of college education and its cost is something that has been at the forefront of politics in various countries for decades. Some countries have free or highly subsidized higher education programs. Other countries, including the United States of America, that's us, and Great Britain, that's you if you're in Great Britain right now, allow institutions to charge fairly large amounts for their courses of study. I'm going to time out right here, though. Just so you all know, there is an updated list of the top 100 colleges that have increased their application rates. So not entrance rate, but application rates. And I will have that posted in the website for you to check out. A lot of the reason why these colleges are getting a lot more applicants is they are super cheap. Like I found colleges there that for less than $10,000 a year, and like good colleges in like kind of awesome places. So I will put that up there, but it's just talking about in general, it is more and more expensive to go to college. So fair point, right? Then it talks about the politics of higher education. So they are a key part of 3 major parties in the UK government. It's also a key campaign issue for Bernie Sanders and has this awesome picture of him, the Vermont senator who ran against Hillary Clinton for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2016. He holds the view that public college and university education should become tuition free. The prospect of making college education completely free for all students is one that could carry many obvious benefits. It is also one that comes with obstacles and valid arguments against. To help you achieve more of a rounded understanding of the topic, here are some of the key points that highlight the argument opposing college tuition fees being abolished. So again, one of the reasons why I do these articles of the week, if you don't know or you haven't been with us for long, it's important to, number one, understand what's going on in the world around you, especially as it relates to high school and college, because, you know, that's what's important to you. But this is the backdrop, right? So everybody should be learning more about what's going on in the world as it relates to and affects them directly. That's one of my things that I purport in the world to be true. You cannot affect the change in the world if you don't know what's going on in the world. Number 2, it's just interesting. But number 3, it's also important to understand things like argumentation and propaganda and how to really read and understand articles for validity. This is something that you will have to do in college anyway, because no matter what classes that you're going to take, you will have to do at least some sort of research or research critique. So this is very important stuff. It's just skill building, but it's also interesting, and it usually drives a lot of topics of conversation. I don't know if who is on here right now? Yeah, I mean, some of you guys, like you were the ones telling me that you talk about this stuff with each other at school as kind of like this, I don't know, it's interesting. And I guess you have something to talk about that other people don't, which is something we're going to talk about later when we discuss how to make new friends or maintain the ones you have. But yeah, so that's why we do what we do here. What I liked about this article is that it is specifically addressing the argument that you typically don't hear, which is why shouldn't college be free? And so it has the intention of making you more well-rounded, which I love. I love that whole idea. So the first thing that they talk about is issues with graduated students. In many people's eyes, this is not going to work for hardworking students who have just they became graduated from a college or university where they had to pay. So the issue is now the college is free. What about the ones that just graduated? Like I'm sure I have people in my tomorrow's group that would be very upset if college all of a sudden became free. And a lot of my recent graduates probably would also be pretty upset. So you do have to look at that because they have student loans and they have to pay those student loans off. Now all of a sudden college is free. So what do you do with the graduated students? Do you forgive this all? So now all college loans for the last 25 years are now all going to have to be paid? Yikes. That gets pretty expensive. So the second argument is there is already plenty of help available. So this goes into things that help with living costs. This deals with lower income backgrounds, getting higher education dreams met with these scholarships. And there are also merit-based and other forms of scholarships that you can get no matter who you are or where you're from. The takeaway from this, do well now. Right? Do well while it's easy to do well in school and get grades that will net you scholarships. Because no matter where you go, the sweetest letter in the mail to get is that here's $10,000, $15,000 for free every year for the next 4 years. I can't think of a better way to get like $45,000 or $60,000 handed to me than just doing well in 9th and 10th grade in high school. So that's an important point. Choice would be limited. There is an argument that making public education free would actually limit the choices for a student's preferred college or university. Many people believe that one of the rewards of working harder and making more money is better for college options for their children. In effect, that their efforts should give their offspring an advantage when it comes to being able to pick the best institutions. So there's a theory that making all colleges free would eliminate the incentive to work as hard as possible to get those scholarships that I just got done talking about. So I would have a really hard time telling you guys, do really well freshman year, because if you don't, you still get to go to college for free. This doesn't have the same impact as save $60,000 over the course of 4 years. So I kind of get what they're saying here. More government control. The degree of control that government has in all areas of life is always a contentious subject. Republicans especially do not subscribe to the big government style of politics. Many people believe that if higher education was to be fully funded by federal taxes, the government would then gain greater control over the services that colleges and universities provide. So this whole idea that like, if I'm paying you, you're sort of my employee. So if the government's paying you, you sort of are owned by the government. This isn't necessarily the case. There are plenty of examples of things that are government funded that run independently. So again, some arguments are better than others, right? So you could look at this and say, well, I mean, cool, you could have it so that the government could have standards. But remember, the government already has standards. There is a liberal arts degree. You have to meet certain criteria as a university in order to be able to say you give out liberal arts degrees. So there's already structure and standards. This argument's flimsy, honestly. You can tell me if you think differently in the questions and answers, but I just think this is a flimsy argument. With students and their families paying for their own tuition, government's hand in the situation is much less strong. Programs can be tailored to individual students, classes, counties, and states. Anything to make the education experience more fulfilling for individual circumstances. Now, this part I do agree with, just in the sense that what I tell all of you, when you get to college, you're the customer. Because you're paying. Now you could be using government dollars like loans or scholarships, depending on your FAFSA. But still, you are the one that is the reason for the season. So you're the reason why the school's getting money. So you still have a certain clout. You have certain rights that may erode if colleges don't care about whether or not they make you happy anymore because they're going to take their government dollars regardless. That being the case, if it was something like a voucher program that they did, almost like what they do with high schools, that could still make the same impact because it's still your dollars. You're number 3,467 on the government list of people's money, but they still want that money. So I still think it would put you in the driver's seat. Again, a weaker argument, but I understand it. And the last point, not everybody wants to go to college. You guys don't want to go to college. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Oh, they're not talking about you. Okay, but we must remember the simple fact that not all high school students want to attend college. So there are some people that just don't want to do it. Not sure why. Have them talk to me. Some people find that their calling and talents in more practical work environments from an early age. That is true. And there would be pressure because the path to college would be the next logical step after high school. So this is very interesting. It would sort of move everybody into, like, funnel them into this higher education system and almost like a 13th grade, 14th, 15th, 16th grade. Because if it's free, why wouldn't you go? Especially if it gives you an advantage, which, I mean, assumedly it does. Still, even in a free system, it would give you some sort of advantage. Although there are other articles that I've read that show that the value of the education itself declines and the job placement declines when education's free. So overall, there are perfectly valid arguments for both sides of the debate. Hopefully these points have helped you understand the idea of why college should not be free. So I hope you guys get a chance to read through all of that article. I find it very interesting. Again, it'll be on the website. You can download it. You can read the article for yourself. I left out some parts. You'll probably see that they were just kind of nonsense filler. But the other point that I want to make is there was another article that I read related to this a couple of weeks ago that even made the point, should high school even be free? So if you look at the beginnings of this country, some of the people in the beginning of the country didn't even want higher education to be free at all, like not middle school, not high school. They wanted basic arithmetic and reading to be free, and then you would have to either earn your way or pay your way into better higher education, like some middle school or high school. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. It was still very much a farm community. Like, the country was, for the most part, farmlands. This was pre-industrial revolution. So you kind of get an idea. It wasn't as necessary as it would be even in the 1820s, 1830s. It all of a sudden was like, wow, we need people who can do a lot of mental work. So there was a lot that was going on there that actually made it pretty important. So, it did make an impact. It does make a difference if you're able to, read and write. But for the most part, the argument for not having education be free, like high school education be free, was that it would make people like you guys care more. So the idea is, if you have to pay for, or you have to do well in order to get into a good high school, you will value your education more. So there's a lot of validity to this. There was a really interesting study that was done on a video of the reproductive cycle of frogs. So there was this college that did a study where they had people come into a movie theater, and so half the people had to pay like $5. I mean, I think it was in like the 60s, but they had to pay $5 to go see this video on the reproductive cycles of frogs, the reproductive habits of frogs. And then there was the other half of the people who didn't have to pay anything. And the people who had to pay the $5 to go see the movie, they rated it higher than the people who got it for free. So they were saying things like, it was very informational, it was very interesting, it was very entertaining, I got a lot out of it. And the people who didn't pay anything for it were like, yeah, this movie's crap. Like, I don't know why you wanted me to go watch a movie about frogs' reproductive cycles. So there is this mental thing that we have about, when we get something for free, we do not value it as much as when we have to give something in order to have that thing. So you could think about this for a lot of things. You could think about this for like your phone. You could think about this for like internet. You could think about this for clothing, trips that you take, vacations. There's a lot that you get for free, very likely. I mean, unless there's kids that are working every day for that stuff, in which case, wow, like, I didn't realize I was reaching Bangladesh and other countries like that, but you get my point. I mean, there's a value to what you're getting, even if you're not paying it. But just be aware that maybe a lot of the things that you take for granted, you probably take for granted because they're free. If you had to put in to get them, you probably care a lot more about them. I mean, imagine when you get some money and then you buy something for yourself, you're a lot more protective about that thing. It's like, wow, well, I bought that. That's mine. I bought that with my money. And it's like, yeah, well, now you know how it is. That's why don't break my stuff. The point is, don't break my stuff. You can't break my stuff. This is great. Thank you. So anyway, like I said, throw in the questions and answer section, your thoughts on that. I'd love to keep this conversation going, especially even in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can always be commenting on what your thoughts are of free education, free tuition, or free high school. Or if you have a better argument than the article even put out there, I'd love to even voice it out here. I'm more than happy to put out your comments to everybody else so that they can benefit from it, even if it's not with your name. You don't have to have me shout out who you are or whatever. I can, obviously, if you want me to, so that people know it's you and you can meet each other at school and hang out and apparently do what some of you guys do with your group, your college success coaching group, which is awesome. So yeah, just throw those out there. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. So I'll just give you guys a second to do that. Otherwise, this has been the article of the week. Did you like that video? Did you find it interesting? Do you want to find out more about how to get more out of life? That's a lot of mores, and we can do even more than that. So if you would like to check out our website, www.collegesuccesscoaching.com, you can see what it's all about. I answer live questions every week. I have videos with experts in all kinds of fields that can help you to learn more about what they do and what you could be doing, and even more. We have resources on the website. It's a blast. So go ahead, check out the website. It's risk-free. 2 weeks on me. You're welcome. And otherwise, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can get all these article reviews, as well as every once in a while, I'll do a live Periscope where I'll answer any questions anybody sends me throughout that time. So keep on keeping on. We'll see you soon.